1 second, sorry. There we go. Just a special thank you to our partners, sponsors. So to start off with, we have our 2 community partners. We have Comstasis for secure, reliable IT. And we also have Metro Nashville. Now we have our growth partners. So we cannot do what we do without all these partners. So please keep that in mind. We have for our banking partner, we have Pinnacle.
Yeah,
we have
it's okay. I understand. It's not good.
And then we have CLA for accounting, Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce for community, Baker Donaldson for legal, and then RJ Young for tech. And then also a special thank you to our supporting partners. So like I said, we can't do this without them. And how many of you all have been here to the EC before? I think a lot of you, I remember a lot of you all. All right, who has not been to the EC before? There's still a couple hands, which is great. Okay, so a little bit about what we do here at the EC is we want to make Nashville the best place to start and grow your business by increasing the chances of likelihood for success for entrepreneurs. There's 2 different ways that we do that. So one, we have our membership. So it's going to come with a lot of entrepreneur support resources. A couple of those entail our advisor network. And so if you are an advisor here at the EC, please raise your hand. Amy, Ramos, yes. Give them a round of applause. So with advisors like them, you are able to schedule time to meet with them, ask questions, get feedback on your ideas and what you're working on. There's also things like these events here, so educational content. There's a community of like-minded entrepreneurs, discounts on startup tools, meeting room space, co-working space, and just so much more. So if you're interested in learning more about membership or just getting involved in general, I would love to chat with you. And then our second avenue, we have our accelerator programs. So mind you, while I go through these, the applications for these close July 11th. Now, there's something we're doing really special for this cohort in the fall. We have $40,000 worth of grants that you can win while being in one of those cohorts in the fall. So I definitely recommend you checking these out, seeing if this fits you, because what these are is a curated experience based on either your business stage or business industry. So we have Takeoff for those that are ready to launch, In-Flight for those at the grow and scale stage, Twin Day for founders of color. We have Project FinTech and Project Healthcare for those industry-focused ones. Once again, you can go to our website to check out more information about these accelerator programs, or you can get with me to learn more about it. All right, and now, how many of you all know of Launch Tennessee? I think a lot of people should, because basically they are the center web of all ECs in Tennessee. So what they specialize is connections, capital, commercialization. If you want to learn more about what they do and how they do connect all of the different resources throughout Tennessee, just get in that QR code, learn more about it. Then there's also Invest In. So this is a separate section of Launch 10, but also part of them. Basically, if you are looking for non-dilutive equity, this may be a good fit for you. It is a catalytic matching fund. You can check out a lot more information with that QR code there, but if you are looking for funding and looking to really scale your business, this may be a good option for you as well. And without further ado, we have the main event. All right, give it up for Amy and Michael once again. And then, yes, I mean, honestly, we could do better than that. Let's do it one more time while they come up. Okay, perfect. And so while they do the introduction, I'm going to pull up their slides and we're ready to kick off.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction. Like Trey said, my name is Amy Good. I am a partner and the VP of Client Strategy of EyeCandy Creative. Just to introduce a couple other people in the room, we have Kate McGinnis in the back. She's our account manager, and she's maybe walking around and helping you out because this is going to be a hands-on interactive experience, okay? We have Sam Nickel. He's taking pictures in the back too. Wave your hand. He's with Main Impact, so he may be taking smiling pictures of you all and capturing the magical moments today. And then we have Michael DeGuire. Michael, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Michael DeGuire. Thank you so much for coming to this branding presentation. We hope you get some value out of it. We know you're all starting businesses and you may be validating what you have or for finding something new. Thank you for showing up.
Michael is our creative director and extraordinaire. He is great at building websites and building your brands and all of your assets. So I'm going to ask you, by the way, to move to the middle table, if you will, because you can't be at a table by yourself. You gonna be the person?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, if you didn't already, make sure that you enter to win at the end of the presentation today. We're going to be giving away some Bose earbuds. They are expensive earbuds. They are very nice. And so you have a good chance of winning today. All right, so today you all are here for whatever reason you came. Maybe you just came to network. Maybe you came to learn more about your brand and take a little deep dive. Maybe you just came here for a free lunch. That's great as well. Whatever brought you here, thank you for coming. We're very excited to do this presentation for you, and we hope you get a lot of value out of it. How many of you all already work for a company or have your own company that has a brand? Some kind of brand. Most of you, right? Some of you are on the beginning. How many of you are at the beginning of building a brand and are looking for help? All right, good. About 5 of you, great. How many feel that your brand nails it? Ooh, yeah, I mean, it's not always, okay, good. Well, a few people feel like their brand nails it. Brands are always evolving. If you look at bigger brands, and we're going to talk about those, they are ever evolving. Michael's going to go through a few of those bigger brands right now, and then we're going to dive into some of the workshop activities.
Thanks, Amy. I thought this was going to be a karaoke thing. I didn't know we were going to hear that this was what this was, but I'll try my best to fumble through these slides for you. So we all know brands. There are a few global brands that we all know. These brands have surpassed industry, segments. No matter what country you're in, everybody knows what Coca-Cola is, Target. These brands have hit that upper echelon, right? The good news is they all started where you guys are today. They started someplace trying to figure these things out. Some of these brands have gotten so large they don't even need a name with their logo anymore, and everybody knows every brand up here without seeing a name on it whatsoever. That's the penultimate, right? You got that brand logo. I mean, Apple with a chunk out of it, who would have known? As I mentioned, brands evolve all the time for various reasons. Old brands stick with something and they evolve over the years because society changes, emotions change, perspectives change. Other brands change because maybe their logo is not as clear or it doesn't resonate with the audience properly. Discovery Kids down here, just simple changes make it more legible. Jack in the Box, MTV, they don't need music television. And everybody knows the story of Starbucks. They've got the siren on their logo, it's been there, and it's about the only thing consistent, it's been there since the beginning, but everybody knows it by now. So there are lots of reasons you might want to evolve your brand, whether it's client drive, industry needs, trends, those sort of things. It's very easy to get it wrong. We've seen lots of these things. Who knew Colgate put out a food line? Because this looked appetizing, right? Your toothpaste, food. This failed horrendously. This was back in the 90s, I think, and I forget the year, but New Coke. Some people might remember this. Some people may have no clue that Coke tried this. Gap. Anybody want to take a guess at how long this new logo lasted?
Weeks.
6 days. 6 days for outcry, public outcry, not, changed it. Does anybody remember what year this Olympics was?
2012.
Right, it is 2012. You knew this. Not to mention they had red and black with this, which caused horrible things with swastikas and things. So Yahoo, they came out before Google. Like they were at the beginning when all this stuff started, but they don't run anything anymore. Nobody really does. They do everything. I play fantasy football on them, but I don't use them for search. I don't know why it is, but they've changed their personality over time and they just haven't stuck with anything. Virgin, very successful brand. But what does Virgin do? Live music, right? So you can dilute this. There's lots of ways to do this wrong. And it took me a second, but Amazon released their app logo. And does anybody see the issue with the first one? It wasn't as easy. Hitler's mustache. Hitler's mustache.
That's terrible.
Once you see it, you don't unsee it, right? So it's easy to get wrong. Even the biggest brands make these mistakes. It just happens. So when you do it right, though, a brand is a beautiful thing. Starbucks, great example of a brand system. Coca-Cola. There are lots of companies that have these entire systems. If you go to, sorry, this is another click, creative.starbucks.com, they make all their brand guidelines visible and public to everybody. It's a beautiful site. You can see how to build your own brand, and they've got everything from packaging to gift cards. I don't think anybody here has never seen Starbucks or knows what it is. So brands are everywhere. I think I had a couple notes I just want to make sure I said, which is they all started where you did. Don't forget that, you know, and all of them had to start with a personality and the things we're going to talk about in the workshop today. And then the last thing is, whether you like it or not, if you have a company today and you are offering services or products, you've already established a brand. The first time you have a customer, did you shake their hand? Did you say certain things? You talk a certain way? Like, you are already beginning your brand. So tap into what you already are doing. Try to fill it out as we get to the workshop, and this will be really beneficial for you guys. Amy, back to you. We're going to start into the workshop.
Okay, so as Michael said, you're starting your brand the moment you meet someone. But as you continue to grow, it's really important that you are establishing what those brand guidelines are, because you hopefully will hire on employees. You may hire a marketing team. You have salespeople, and they all need to be able to articulate your brand cohesively because they are out there representing you, right? Now, when we think about a brand, we might automatically think about the logos and the marks, but there's so much more behind a brand than the logos and the marks. And these are just some of the things that we are going to talk about today. We're not going to talk about all of these things today, but it's really important to really start with your personality. And we're going to talk about that one first, and we're going to deep dive. I hope that maybe you have brought your brand, maybe your brand guidelines. If you don't, your website, even a business card, something that has some of your branding on it, or just thinking about where you are as you're starting your journey. That's fine. We're going to talk a little bit, you can go to the next one, about personality, color, and typography, because these ones we feel like we could kind of dive into that hands-on experience. This is assuming that you've already chosen the name for your company. That's also important because your name can really make or break you. You also need to make sure that there is no one else in that your industry that has that similar name, or make sure that you have your URL secured that goes along with your name. We actually have a client called the Kindergarten Smorgasbord who just reached out to us recently. They had their brand established for a long time, and they were like, you know what, Amy? No one can spell smorgasbord, okay? And so they can't either find us, or they always type in my email incorrectly. So we need to tighten it up and just do TKS. So it's really important that you think about your audience and all of the different things that go into just your name and your DNS at the beginning, okay? So today we're going to start with personality, because this is the framework for all of the other things we're going to talk about today. It's going to be the framework for your coloring, it's going to be your framework for your typography, it's going to be the framework for your messaging, all of the different things goes back to your personality. Now, this doesn't mean it's your personality, although if you are a founder, it may encapsulate some of your personality, because you have a mission, you have values, you have reasons why you are, starting your business, right? You want to stand out from other people. These might be things that you want to think about, how other people are going to perceive you. What kind of industry are you in? Who do you want to be to your customers? How are you going to draw them in? And so you might want to think about whether or not you're professional or dependable or witty or, whatever it is that makes your brand stand out from other companies. This is where we started with our company as an example, is we have our 6 adjectives, and you all are going to be coming up with your 6 adjectives today, that encapsulate our brand, right? So we take these 6 adjectives, and we purposely picked these because we've worked at agencies before that were maybe not these, and we wanted to do something different. So we wanted to make sure that we as an organization really collaborated with our clients, that we were transparent, that we were approachable, that we made marketing something that wasn't just like a hand me your stuff, it's a journey together. And we wanted to also just have a little bit of our own funniness, encapsulate that. And that goes over to our voice. So if you were thinking about like some of the recent lunch and learns here at the EC have been about AI, right? You can also use these kinds of things to put into ChatGPT so that when you're using that, if you use that for any of your stuff that you're messaging or emails, it can come across in your own brand's voice. Similarly, MailChimp is very similar to our brand. Now, MailChimp is very approachable, it's funny, it's got the cute little monkey. If you think about something like a Salesforce or a HubSpot, it's kind of daunting. Like it's a lot, it seems very technical, it's not very approachable for maybe a small business who really needs to just kind of get off the ground. So if you think about theirs, it's kind of fun, it's plain spoken, it's genuine, it's all of these things that maybe make you pick MailChimp over some of those bigger companies that have a little bit too much for maybe a company that just wants to be able to do it themselves. These are the 5 dimensions of personality. Now, I did not create these. These were created by a professor at Stanford University. But what she's saying is that all of your adjectives might fit into these buckets. The colors don't matter on these. These are our brand colors. But they might be something like sincerity or confidence or ruggedness. And it depends on your brand, again, on where you might fit in some of these words. Here are some brands that do encapsulate those words. If you look at here, we've got Red Bull, right? It's like the excitement. They have the Red Bull Challenge. They have a lot of bold reds and things like that. You're going to have people like the North Face for ruggedness. But then you have something like Tom's, which might have like more of that mission-based values, which they're trying to be sincere. You want to buy a pair of shoes to give a pair of shoes, that kind of thing. And this is one that's just showing a whole brand altogether. So this is Chanel, of course. You're looking at kind of that sophistication, the affluent. You could just look at their logo on a handbag or a bottle of perfume. They've built their reputation around this more glamour and female power. And they use not just the visuals, but they use how their logo looks and the typography and everything about it to have continuity across their brand. It's not confusing. Okay, so now we're going to do a little workshop. Kate is coming around with some things for you. You're going to have a worksheet, and you're going to have some personality words in a laminated sheet that's also going to be able to kind of give you a reference. You're going to think about your brand. Put all of your current branding aside. Just think about the company that you either are building or the company that you work for currently. You're going to come up with the 6 adjectives that best describe your brand. Be careful, some adjectives are very similar, okay? And some adjectives mean something different to different people. Transparency might mean openness, but it also could mean clear. So, of like see-through. So you're gonna write down these 6, and then you're going to share them with someone at your table, and then try to maybe define them. How would you use them when you're talking about your brand? And then if you have a brand, compare it to the brand that you have. Does your brand actually speak to these personality words? You're going to have about 4 or 5 minutes to do this, and we'll walk around to help, okay?
So personality. So do we?
So think
basically,
about.
do we go off of this sheet?
No, you're thinking, what's your brand?
Northwestern.
Okay, so what does your brand with most of you encapsulate? Like, what are the encapsulated?
Holistic financial plan, protect and prosper.
But those aren't adjectives. Think about personality words. What is the personality of your brand?
I guess sophistication.
Okay.
Trustworthy.
Trustworthy. These are just some ways to like get you off the ground.
You mean I'm not 12 years old?
There's a ton of adjectives.
We all want to be, right?
But
You know what, that also did too far.
Okay.
responsible or something like respectful, something mature. I think Northwestern Mutual, because it's like a mature company, is trying to show that people they're established.
Yeah, like established, yeah.
There's also turn it over. And there's also a sheet on the back if you want to look at their personality words on the back.
Why am I not playing? Oh, well, let me just ask.
You've done a good job with it.
We're married, so.
I love it so much.
You really thought I came here by myself?
Don't be tempted to get to the color point.
Yeah.
Crayons are fun.
Genres of music,
But I've been with
okay?
Northwestern Mutual, man,
But
trying
like,
to figure out.
Like, are you trying to be polished, or are you trying to be like down to earth, or are you trying to be,
Just throw it in. Somebody who wants to.
so that might be kind of your, trying to think of, you're not really sexy, is it, strong, stylish, suave, like they're rustic, romantic?
Thank you.
What are your values?
Adjectives.
Hi, Michael. Nice
The
to
whole
meet you.
nation, and like, there's a certain personality to like music. Okay.
No, I'm not sitting, I'm walking around.
I'm ready to see that.
That's where I'm asking for.
It's like masculine.
Maybe I should put the name on
I wonder if I can
I
guess
think
what you
you're
do
very
basically.
masculine, and it's also
That's true, 'cause it's
right?
What do you guys feel like from y'all's perspective?
Harder than you think.
It is.
Some type of.
It's like, how do you, I mean, am I on?
Y'all have 2 minutes,
Loading or
guys.
something?
Is it a little bit of your values, strong, like a good word
What's your product?
Good nature.
So, I have tools,
This is where you were saying you struggled. I know it's hard to come up with your words.
So basically, if Gucci was like, we want to have a popular
Some of these were
and
ones that came to mind, but I don't know.
I'm able to purchase and basically draw high clientele towards their booth inside that space and have the business itself also promote them.
This is where my copywriter comes in handy. She always comes up with great words when she describes the things, right?
You're the
Nicole,
one
word
sitting
girl.
there to grab the attention. You're coming up with ideas. Makes the customer engage with them.
Yeah, so my thing is
Sort
I
of,
professionalize.
one of those things, the old school.
Ancient
technology. The community there is basically getting free t-shirts at me for 24 hours.
Because you're so
And I didn't invite two businesses next to me that's
And then making sure that it's,
to come with me.
I like innovating. I think that's really
And thank you, and I just partnered up with the Nashville, Nashville's office, so I'm able to partner up with luxury high rises, hotels, co-working spaces.
okay.
great.
Are you, like, when you talk about your tone, is it very sophisticated, very like professional, or is it kind of like, the little people kind of thing?
Yeah. I'm over here like.
I'm still working on another adjective. Oh, you're good, thank you.
We're not gonna put that. Well, actually, there's a couple.
Would y'all say this is bizarre? I mean, it's not really something that's very, it's not really something that's common.
I'm like, did anyone get to the next part? Cause I'm still focusing on.
Okay, we're wrapping it up. It's a lot harder than you think, huh?
Now someone's gotta use it.
Not as easy as it can to boil down into those 6 words. And you may not have had enough time, but that's okay. You can come back to it. We've got 2 other little things to do, but we do only have a certain amount of time today to go through it. If you didn't quite finish your words, think about like this as a continued exercise, because it is hard to come up with your words of like your tone. And even if you are, Moose was talking about how there's kind of this masculine, maybe rugged kind of feeling. You also have to think about like, is it going to be polished? Is your tone going to be more jovial? That kind of thing. Michael.
Thanks, everybody. There's some really interesting adjectives out there. I think impotent was at this table. I don't know what their business is, but that was one of them. Anyone else want to share an interesting adjective that came up at their table? No? Okay, that's okay too. Okay, color. This is everybody's favorite part usually. Everybody likes color. We always wanted the biggest box of crayons, and we gave you all one big box of crayons at your table so you can have fun with that. But color is almost the easiest thing for people to get. We're born, it's ingrained in us, at least generations from past, pink were girl, blue's boy. We still see real parties around these colors, and that starts there, right? From all the toys you see, construction things. We all know at this point, red is energetic, it's actionable, right? Green is for the environment, blue is soft and trust, and all the banks use blue. So there's a psychology to color, and we're all already know this in our head. It's out there every day for you to see. It evokes a lot of emotions, and they know this, they being us, the brands, the companies that are trying to reach people, and it's a very powerful tool for you to reach your audience too. You can see how these other companies, the big ones, have used them, and these all make sense when you look at it. This is a great chart, I didn't create it, it came from a logo company, so I don't want to take credit for it, but it really does encapsulate some of those emotions evoked by these large brands, and now you look at it like, oh yeah, a lot of food in the red category, or green and such, so color, use them to your advantage. Just like people, friends, colors need friends. Color can play a huge role. There are lots of color theories out there. You have complementary colors. You know, color helps contrast how things are against each other. There's nothing wrong with having one color, not at all. Some of the biggest brands only use one color, but we find color as an interesting way to draw attention and do a lot of other things for us. So, Coca-Cola. Big brand, red, right? They have their own red, they have their own ink, all that special stuff, and they use it very effectively in all their categories, from Christmas to polar bears to their trucks, red. Everybody knows Coca-Cola red. The next one's IKEA. You want to take a color? What color is IKEA? Do we all know that already?
Yellow.
Yellow and blue, right? So you already know this. These things are out there. And yes, these people have spent billions upon billions of dollars to get you to know that. But it started just like you. I'm just going to keep reminding you of that. So, you know, the yellow and the blue evoke their personality, right? It goes with their Scandinavian heritage. It's light, it's versatile, innovative. So they leaned into it. This is an older poster. I love that old logo there, but that's super interesting sidetrack. So color is your friend. So now we're going to talk about color. Think about those words you just came up with for the personality. Think about your audience, what colors might resonate with them best. So take your crayons. You know, there are a lot of other tools out there. People in here have heard of a PNS book. There's got all the colors, ink colors. If you want to borrow this, you can. You've got a color tool on your thing, but do your best with your crayons to find some colors that maybe evoke your personality in your organization.
And Kate's coming around with the color wheel, and you can look at kind of the contrasting colors on there and get some ideas and think about how your brand should be reflected. Okay. Well, think about your shirt, think about what are the things that you're descriptive for. I think it's something you can rip it down. So if you think about right? And you have
for starters,
that is also, you know, that sort of tone, you know,
Burnt orange is what we went with. Yeah. This is. It seemed to go with.
you have to Google it, I can't remember. ChatGPT.
So if you look at this, it's supposed to be like, it's a friendly
Himalayan pancake, that's what it's got a jalapeno. For one of our new clients.
oh, okay. Is that your, and what we always do is very much those.
I mean, just have,
You may want to think about the time.
have anybody up in there, they're looking at me like, oh, so you are.
Green's vibing on it.
That is the challenge.
I mean, dude,
With
like
thinking about how they reflect on different backgrounds. You could try a gray, like a light gray.
I've already seen you somewhere, it's killing me. Yeah, the more you see different colors for your like,
It's like-
I saw you somewhere.
Because you see how like
Maybe it's, I'm not sure.
That's why it's important sometimes to have that secondary kind of color.
Yeah.
Because you can highlight some again.
Not like Facebook blue.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of tough because Twitter, Facebook's got their.
Yes, you can also
Just love all that part out, huh?
Did you ask how much your colors at?
Lots of
Shade. I don't see anything on your thing.
That was perfect, but now it's
Well, then for someone to do a good job, you obviously, the company, they probably have their own brand exercises. Yeah, you use things like, see how we use things like.
larger ones.
Logo, but it's not your website or on your entire company. You also want to think about how you're gonna look on the back. So, there's a gentleman over here from anything else.
I don't know if it was Oh, yeah.
Well, I can put it on white.
What am I 60 video? That's all I need. I don't even
You might have to try with that. Some other things. But like, if you don't have,
Baton Rouge and Jackson.
go on different
Access to brokers here in Nashville. So that's two, that's like almost
breaking up your website.
just off of those three. So it's like, I've already got like, Shark Tank would be great,
Something to kind of break it up.
but like they know that and they can
Anytime
step
I
back and
explain
do
to
that.
people about my second business, I feel like I'm a kid in like kindergarten, they're like, you guys tell athletes, you so what do you want to be for? I want to be a dinosaur. Always working, I can at least say that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
29.
It's like kind of.
It started in college. I started taking photos of my phone because I needed professional photos for my socials. Then I started taking pictures of the photos during COVID because I went to school for music business. I wanted to work in the music
So that
industry.
way I can pay for
So then I made my side hustle. It turned into something more.
200,000 people see 10% of them.
Yeah, it all started when I was 23. So that's why I say you're doing the right thing. Stop the right road. Yeah, it's not gonna
It's insane. It's fucking early. So it's but I make 15 grand. So it's like,
People say
that's
it's
why
scary,
I'm
but then
like,
it's like, what's scarier? Going back to your original life, or is it scarier than like doing something new? Yes, it is.
I just want capital because the
Sorry.
yeah. Because like invest to me That's it. So like now I have something to ask you guys. They also want avenues of their but like so like hypothetically is so like for instance you have alright what would you essentially going to be discuss two things. You would want to be part of it with me in this growth, so like all of your networks, everybody you know, you can expand it that way.
If we want to have some shared talk at the end, we should go ahead.
Well, if not, it's just your name investors. You're just looking at like you might do that and that's the so there's two different things here. And it's like typically it's like oh it's like it's
No, we don't do
important
anything. We're doing mostly marketing, social media, incentive,
so it's like they're looking at they want to be part of the business.
All right, we're coming back here. I hope you're having some good discussions around branding with the people at your table. Sounds like you are, which makes me happy. A couple of things that we were pointing out at some of the tables you may have to think about, these aren't just like your brand on your logo, right? For instance, Fred was talking about how his logo does not look good on black. It's too dark, right? Which is fine if it doesn't look good on black, but then in his brand guidelines, he should say, we never put our logo on black. We use this shade of gray in the background so that there's consistency across the board in your organization. Colors aren't just part of your logo. They may be a tertiary color that you're using to highlight something on your buttons or on your titles and things like that. So something to think about.
Great point. This is so exciting to walk around and see people talking about their colors and relating to their personality. It's just, this is what I crave, so it's awesome. Typography. Everybody knows about, I mean, we know what fonts are. And thankfully, and somebody else showed me their Canva palette. I think it was Shay had her Canva with her brand color palette on it. There are lots of tools out there. There's lots of fonts out there. And I want you to know from a typography standpoint, whether you call it font or typography, whatever it is, we're all talking about letter forms and how they display. And I am a designer at heart, artist, but everybody knows me will tell you content first. The words are absolutely the most important thing. And my job as a designer is to elevate those so that people will read it. Because what's the point of the piece if people aren't taking something from it? So I'm very content focused. When you're thinking about fonts, of course, you're gonna have a font that's on your logo. It might be customized. You might take a font and tweak it a little bit to make it your own for the logo. But beyond that, you also have fonts that you use in your communications, whether it's a flyer, in your social media. You want to try to have these brand fonts, but typography does more than just read things. It gives hierarchy to things. It lets the viewer know what to look at first. We all know this to some degree. We all know to put a title at the top. We read that, and we all have read books that have chapters. And so think about how when you see something, where does your eye go first? It can help establish that hierarchy. The font's going to help continue that extension of your personality. It's also going to be important to how is it legible? Can people read it? This is low resolution, so that's not why you can't read this, but you can see the stages of hierarchy begin to establish here. So type does a lot more than just look pretty. Lots of math to typography. I don't expect anybody's going to digest all this. Is this a laser pointer by chance? Yay.
Oh, fancy.
But the biggest thing I think most people understand is serif or sans serif. Somebody told me serif is actually French for little feet. I don't think that's true. Maybe it is. Sans serif, sans means it doesn't have it. You got a sans serif font. These are your Helveticas, your Arials. And you got serif fonts. They have the little feet and doohickeys at the top. Doohickeys is an official term. But they can convey different things. You're going to see a bank with this more formal, foundational font. It conveys a lot of confidence. Your fintechs, your tech companies are going to want to be clean. Medical companies, healthcare want clean. So that can help decide a few things. We don't have to get into all these other things, bowls, ears, all that stuff, not really relevant. But there are thousands of fonts out there. This may be pulled from something called DeFont, which was a source for a lot of this before Adobe came out with their thing, and Google Fonts has their thing. Both those are great repositories, Google Fonts and Adobe. You can license them, download them for web, put them on your website so they show up everywhere. But you want to be a little bit deliberate about these. Some of these are a little off the reservation, when it comes to things. Google and Adobe both have this type of interface, which means when you come with your personality words, you can enter. Some of these might be here. You can download or pick serif, sans serif. You can pick appearance. So you can begin to hone in on the personality of the font with some of these filters on both Google and Adobe. Great resources for font and typography. All right, mixed emotions, right? These are not mine. I stole these from somewhere, but are we going to get a lot of Harley Davidson riders for Big Al's Club here with this curly Q's font? Probably not. And the fluffy pillow, bed and breakfast with these really hard edges and stuff. So you get the point of these. Be deliberate about your font.
That daycare one's fire.
That daycare one is fire.
I Google them for sure. I Google that.
So they can say a lot without any symbols, pictures, or anything, just the font itself, right? Just an example. how color and font size can make your eye go some different places. I won't let you stay here for too long because it'll make you get a headache. Now, fun game, but what went wrong? We always love these. What do they, who's the company? What are they selling? I mean, there's so much text. You don't know where to look. I mean, this is craziness. GNS Electrical. Anybody found what's off here?
It's a gas.
Oh, it does. I didn't see that. I was thinking about the. Wait. This is all terrible.
Dang.
Trey.
What went wrong? He always says that.
Designer have a remote. This is what happens. Trey, can you help me get back to?
Yeah, just press.
Oh, I'm on that screen over there. Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Oh, yeah, that was simple. I don't use a computer regularly. Sorry. I can keep going now.
That's because you decided to do animations.
That is. My wife is a school teacher, and she said this would be better if we had animations, build some anticipation. It was going swimmingly, until then, but
Hey, Michael?
yes. Bud Light, right there.
Interesting company to use as a case study for the color is UPS.
Yeah, the browns and the gold.
Yeah, I mean, they started calling themselves brown.
Yeah, that's very true. Very
It's the
true.
only company I know that ever used a color that described it.
Yeah.
It's part of the branding.
Back to typography, we're almost there. A fun game of what went wrong.
You put animations in your presentation.
What's that?
That's what went wrong.
I know. That's what went wrong. Keep it simple, stupid, right?
It's okay. Humanistic is kind of part of our brain.
It is, and
And
I put
jokes.
funny, kind of,
Kind of.
Thank you so much. Okay, this phone number's tiny. You're not gonna see this very far away. That's what I took away from it. It's like the main contact is a phone number, and it's thin as could be, right? I do see the gas now. I took some really crazy ones out of this presentation. The Fish Factory, fresh cooked seafood, eat here, take out. I mean, it's a little bit of everything going on there. So much text, so much color, I don't know where to look. Hello Sunshine becomes Hell Sunshine when you don't see that yellow because of contrast, right? And then we always love these, excellent end alterations, telling us color the way the block's there. So it's not hard to go wrong, just be conscious about how you lay type out. And a few tips for you. Comic Sans, stay away from it, okay? Everybody knows Avatar, Papyrus Story. They just used a font to make their $1 billion movie budget thing. And you can use brush script if you live in Florida. Curls, you can do better than this. Vivaldi was an old font from a long time ago, looks fancy that nobody can read. And these banners were actually printed. And Bradley Hand, I don't know who he is, but just better options. So, think about it. All right, workshop time. We give you a little section on there. You can begin to check box what might resonate with your audience, your personality. And there's a couple other places to fill in some blanks there if you'd like to do that. So work with a partner. Check out Google Fonts or Adobe Fonts, whatever you want to, if you want to look for a font that way. And we'll come around and answer questions.
On your computer, I didn't even know this existed until last week, and you can put in like your descriptive words and pull up fonts. So if you have your computer, give you recommendations for some fonts.
So you guys had a brain already
If you
figured
wanna
out.
like look it up, you can
Yeah.
put in your
What's
descriptive words. It's really cool. I'm gonna give you some suggested fonts. You can select all the different
Flip over.
Alright, now
So,
my font.
you do
Wait a second.
and
I created
like
a
that.
sweatshirt. I think
Oh,
I'm very excited for
Oh, yeah,
that.
right. That's like
So
one of
is
those
this-
things
is
you
it-
like see in
I'm
a
just, I was like,
Any-
I'm
any-
swimming just for me.
nutrition stuff. So I will once I get
I just want to my company artwork.
What's it called? Cottage law. That's what Tennessee has. That's for small business people.
Okay.
It's not until you get into a industrial part.
If you haven't tried
kitchen,
Google Fonts,
then
it's
I have
actually
to have
amazing.
nutritional-
You can type in your words that describe your brand and it'll give you some suggested fonts.
That's where
You can also sort stuff, and
Which is what I'm
it's
trying to
pretty
pull
easy. I've never done it until like this was
Oh,
done, until he told me about it. And I was like, oh my gosh,
I see.
Hey, do you want some?
you wanna make sure that they go together and they also, when you're looking at, the, like, let's say you're not looking at the page at all, where does your eyes go? Is it legible? Does it fit that personality? Like, we wanna be fun, but also clean.
I had made it.
I'll share you the Google Fonts that are good, Canva fonts, okay?
Let it go. You're good.
The part for the
Embrace it.
handwriting
It's fine.
is so hard because.
That's why he said bake it too.
I read it,
So I have to do
that's a good one because it's like so legible.
No, I'm in.
Do you ever have to worry about the fonts or what you're doing?
I'm in. I do
Kinda,
sponge
since I started
it's
once
still
you
down
work on
in Franklin.
some marketing stuff, because I really have gotten like popcorn or
We just got one for,
Getting
Oh, you transition right in there, huh?
yeah.
So it's like I'm already, I'm
Sorry,
so that's why I'm like, so in flight part is where I'm on the, I've already taken. I've got spatial bills.
But then ontological is like
playing
his
rugby
writing.
into a shoot, moose meat, so I really like the moose thing.
Gives them like.
Thing, and I mean, are you
This is
that
delicious.
So funny, there's actually a
highlight,
backstory.
have a whole back of his website,
So a friend of mine gave me a birthday
planner,
present 2 years ago.
or whatever the things are with that kind of.
On the back.
That's a great story. That whole
360s, or they just do videos, it really depends on what they bring to the table. You don't
Can you tell the story anywhere?
just the how.
On the website and stuff?
No, it's not. Okay. That's like something that I tell when
Like
I
as a
talk about.
supplier,
I think that should
this
just.
is a planner.
So, well, what do we do?
Google fonts.
And I was doing everything. I'm trying to separate this from.
Listings.
This is already.
I never used to find it myself. I'm not used to that all this information.
So.
This feels like
Yeah, it's more like whatever information.
Because I've already, it's funny you say, I've already
I got my business card somewhere.
I've already four. I'm from your border rights group.
Yeah.
That's where.
Oh, you Blue Devils, I was in the White House.
I was in
Oh, you'll pay this year, I'll pay it, okay.
It was, oh, because.
So,
Dude, let me try to connect you guys for sure. Thank you, this is great.
Oh, that
and
might
then
be.
just scan that.
I'm gonna go scan everything.
And that's how I got a lot of it.
But I think you
Yeah.
can,
So that's how I've always
Okay.
was like, it's red.
So I sent this one.
Did you type it, did you type
But
it?
like, just enough where it's,
Tell me each to make.
anything I do is gearing towards that.
I don't think you can write on both things, but I think you can sort and type it.
Take it
It's solely because
Okay, as we kind of, nope, we're good. We're gonna kind of come back here. We had some good discussion. I loved how people were using some of the tools. The Google Fonts thing is really awesome. You can type in some words. You don't have to use the typography, obviously, in your like actual logo, but you want to make sure that you have it fits together cohesively. And that you're one thing I was telling one of the tables is that's why you have brand guidelines, because you are going to grow, right? You all are trying to grow your business, and you will have other people who work with you, and they need to know if you are using this particular font. When are you allowed to use that particular font? Because people will go crazy and they will put all kinds, like your accent font everywhere when they're creating stuff. And the other thing I will say is make sure that your font is probably a universal font. One of the problems that someone I was talking to the other day was making a PowerPoint presentation, and every time they sent it to a client in the PowerPoint, when it was PDF, it was fine. It changed and converted the font, and it looked, all their layout was messed up. So if it's a specialized font, it's going to cause a problem if you are sharing that with other people.
Yeah, and that's generally referred to as a system font, something that everybody has on their computer. A lot of times to get around that, what an organization will do, will have their brand font for all the materials, and in their PowerPoint deck, they will select a system font that's sort of close to their existing one, so this doesn't happen. The workaround to that is if you do absolutely want your font in your deck, is to make a PDF of it, and send it out to your client, and you retain all of that. So great point, Amy.
And just make sure you're giving clear directions to people who work for you. I always say when you're like onboarding, I used to do a lot of HR stuff, you want to make sure that they're learning your brand, when to use things, when not to use things, how to talk about your company. That is why brand guidelines are important, and a lot of people skip that step. Then you can use them if you do hire an outside marketing agency or someone else to help supplement. You can hand them the brand guidelines, and they know exactly how, what, and when to use different things in your branding. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other components that we didn't talk about today. So number 4 on here is messaging. So messaging encompasses a lot of things. And again, I have worked for a company who did not want to have brand guidelines. Our president was very against it. And we were all across the country. And we worked with some very young people, which isn't a bad thing, but they just kind of created their own resources, right? And they wrote whatever they wanted to write about our company and however they wanted to write it. So it wasn't consistent. So messaging is very important. This includes things like your tagline, your boilerplate, your elevator pitch. We do something called a messaging matrix for some of our clients who have a lot of different kinds of consumers. Sometimes you're talking differently to someone who you're presenting as an investor versus someone who is buying your bacon, right? You want to make sure that you are telling your staff and everybody, here are the rules, right? They need a rule book to be able to follow. So that's kind of important for the messaging, and it matters because it needs to also reflect your voice and your tone and how you want to represent your company. The fifth thing on here is visual style. Now, visual style does not just require, obviously the logo and marks are different. We're talking about things like your iconography. Maybe texture. If you think about a Caterpillar, like the big rugged trucks, they might have a splatter of mud in there. That's a texturized thing that they put into their branding. Something might be soft, round edges versus square edges versus triangles. Things that you're using over and over again to make consistency. Things also you might want to think about, what kinds of images do you use? We have a company who is they're in pharmaceuticals, but they aren't doing like pills all the time, right? So they were like, we don't want it to just be like, we're in a pharmacy and there's pill bottles behind us, because that's not what represents what we do. Ours is a software that helps to make people feel safe because they are testing all of their medications against each other. So you have to make sure that whatever your images are reflective of your personality and who you're reaching out to. And if you have more than one audience, you might have different kinds of images, examples for those different audiences. And that's what when we put together brand guidelines, we say, if it's this audience, use these kind of pictures. If it's this audience, use these kind of pictures. Because otherwise people will just pull whatever kind of random stock images that they want, but don't subtly represent their brand. They're going to see the images and the visual stuff first before they read anything, right? And then the last thing that we have on here, of course, is your logo and marks. Logo and marks, you need to make sure are going to look good in different ways, right? When you have a little circle, what do they call that for your mark? It's your icon, right? You usually need to have something that'll fit into those icon things. When I go into the Entrepreneur Center and it has my little symbol up there, I can't fit my whole logo in there. You need to make sure it can look good on different colors. So you can make it your colors and your logo, but you also might want to make it white or black. So if you have the challenge where it's not looking good on the black background, make your logo white. It's okay to change the color of there, take the color out, make it inverse, in order to show up and reflect on different things, right? Do you have any other things, Michael, to say about these items?
No, I think you nailed it. Like Amy said, your logos and marks seem like it come first. but it really shouldn't. I mean, a lot of people start out that way, but it really comes last. It's a buildup and culmination of the rest of these things. When I create a logo myself, I go through all these exercises as well internally, because I want to go through that path. That's all I'll say. The last thing I will add that I didn't hit in color was look to nature for color. We all struggle with color, but it is out there in spades. See animals, flowers, look to color for nature.
Also, the biggest thing that I see from especially small businesses that come to us and they're like, we have a logo and it's not a vector image, okay? Can you explain a vector image?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you create something on Canva or something, you can create vector images. So there's two types of images. Raster, this is a photograph. Everybody knows this because there's dots. If you try to blow it up, it gets all pixelated. Everybody's maybe you've seen that. When you create vector art, it is an outline of something. You can blow it up the size of the arena if you want to, or as small as you need. This is dots. Think about just path dots. Now, that's called an EPS file sometimes. That's called, there's names for Adobe Illustrator, but in Canva, if you will export it as something called an SVG file, that is also a vector format. This is going to allow your artist or your promotional company to put this on your hat, to change colors, to do the things they need so it shows up great. So if you may have a logo, make sure you have that sort of format.
Before we go into this, we'll talk about this. So I know that we went through it really fast. We only have a small amount of time to go through your branding exercise. Again, I am an advisor here at the EC. I'm happy if you're a member to reach out, put something on my calendar, we can talk more. Also, one way to get it started is just to snap a picture of your worksheet because it kind of gives us a jumping off point. And we're happy to just talk to you if you want to noodle on a couple of things that you were thinking about and do a free consultation with you just to kind of get you going on where you're at with your brand and get you to the next steps if you're stuck, Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the topics here, 4, 5, and 6, please let Trey know you'd like us to come back and cover these topics for session 2. And that way we can come back and share some more insights with you guys.
Before we lead to any discussion or questions, if we have time, Trey, it's up to you. I do want to give away our Bose earbuds, which are I can't remember how much I paid for these, but they're not cheap. I had ChatGPT pick a winner. That's why I'm looking over here, and it's Fred Pickney. Hey! Yeah, see? Nice.
His last name is Pickney?
Pickney.
Oh, Pickney. I thought you said Pickney. That's a great name for winning something.
Pickney. No wonder ChatGPT picked you. Do we have a few minutes?
Yeah, about 5 something.
Okay, does anyone want to have an aha share or something that they learned today that they were like, oh, I didn't think about this when it pertained to my brand, or I want to explore this further? Yeah.
I just have a question. I'm on a brand new Android, it's about 2 years old. I'm finding sometimes things don't translate onto my phone. Is there any component of that you think about with the creative that you're producing, the technical part? How's that work?
What are the things that are not translated?
Sometimes things don't display properly. Instead of it being, horizontal text, it would be a vertical column, or the CAPTCHA. I can't see all 6 boxes of the CAPTCHA, and it's not possible to follow through. I'm just wondering what the translation is creative technical.
Yeah, so I would say that comes down to probably some web design issues. Responsive web design is going to be important for sure. So when you're on your device or on my iPad, those things look correctly. So it's important anytime you're setting those guidelines, if you get deep into them, those are going to cover some web guidelines as well in terms of fonts, spacing, those type of things. So make sure any agency or development company you're working with considers responsive design.
Good question. Any other questions or thoughts?
Anybody want to share their worksheet, what they came up with? Anybody got a brand new business idea? Thank you guys so much for attending. I had some fabulous moose, candy bacon stuff over here. I've heard about a few other excellent companies. Cleo's got stuff going on, so please talk to these folks. Connect with them, they're gonna help you, they'll give you free feedback on your brand. You can test all your brand messages on, so. Oh, you're good. I'm good, thank you.
Extra credit.
Oh, yeah.
All right, give it up for Amy and Michael at EyeCandy. And the best thing about it all, so Amy, like she mentioned, she is an advisor here at the EC. So if you are a member, you have access to schedule time to meet with her to get more in depth about, marketing, brand design, things like that. We also have another, so everyone doesn't bombard Amy and take up all her time. We have other marketing advisors on there too that you can access. Another thing, which is great about EyeCandy Creative, is they are the approved vendor directory. So if you're looking to indulge more about their services, they are on there, and as a member, you get a discount on their services, which I believe it's like 10% off your branding package, if I'm correct. You'll be able to see it on there though. But yes, very thankful for them and this workshop. I think it was very valuable. I got a lot from it. I don't have my own business, but I'm going to come back and watch this when I do.
You're running us.
Right, hey, full time. And then, so up next at the NEC, we have a bunch of different events, very fun events as well. So right after this, we have our capital session. So it's gonna be covering unit economics, making sure that you have your evaluation set up correctly based on your story. Make sure that matches up. So that's from 2 to 4:30. We have a workshop portion. On the second half of that, that's free to members. So if you're a member, stick around for that workshop. It'll be a really hands-on experience with CLA and Forecaster. Next up, on July 17th, we have NEC Happy Hour. It's going to be from 3 to 5. Elevator Pitch, July 24th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. So if you want to check that out, if you want to practice your pitch, this may be a really good opportunity. It's a collaborative environment. Get to have feedback from peer entrepreneurs, but also maybe some of our advisors. I know Ramos was at the last one, which is awesome. And then capital session number 2, not number 2, but second one on the slide, we have Know Your Worth, which this one will be going over evaluation. Sorry, I was incorrect about the unit economics one. This one will be going over evaluation. That one's on August 6th from 2 to 4:30 as well. You can check out all of these on our website, ec.co/events. Lastly, we'd love for you all to sign up for our weekly 401 newsletter if you want to stay in the know of everything that's going on in the community. So it'll be 4 events, 1 lesson, 1 win. You can scan that QR code to sign up. And then also, what did you think about today's event? You can fill it out, tell us how we can improve, what you liked, so we continue to do it. We just want to know how you felt about it so we can continue to make these the best for you. And that's all I got. Thank you all for coming. If you plan on sticking around for the capital session, please do. There's some food in the back. Help yourself. And then you have plenty of time to network as well. Thank you.